whatever you want, man.
Welcome to Street Stories Homeless.
This is Street Stories Homeless, where we tell the stories no one else will. Did you know that by 2025, Philadelphia had one of the highest rates of infertility in the United States? Or that the city spends nearly $1 billion a year trying to address the crisis, yet the number of people living without shelter continues to rise. In the shadow of the Liberty Bell, thousands wander icy streets, their hopes drowned in a sea of neglect. How does a city famous for love leave so many forsaken? Street Stories Homeless pulls back the curtain on this raw reality, exposing a crisis thriving in plain sight. Shockingly, entire neighborhoods have morphed into havens for those abandoned by society. Why does this heartbreak endure in a place that boasts freedom? Join us to uncover these untold stories and ignite change. Like, comment, and subscribe to Street Stories Homeless to stand with us. What streets' hidden truths will Philadelphia's reveal next? One, a city divided, the scale of the crisis. Philadelphia, a beacon of American history, is home to over 1.5 million people, yet more than 5,700 individuals face homelessness on any given night, according to the city's 2023 annual homeless assessment report. That's enough people to fill a small stadium, each with a story of struggle and resilience. The contrast is stark. Gleaming skyscrapers and historic landmarks stand tall, while just steps away, men, women, and families seek shelter in doorways and parks. Why does a city so rich in culture grapple with such a pervasive issue? The homelessness crisis in Philadelphia isn't new, but it's growing at an alarming rate. Over the past decade, the number of unsheltered individuals has risen by nearly 20%, driven by a perfect storm of economic and social challenges. Skyrocketing rents, stagnant wages, and a lack of affordable housing have pushed many to the edge. Street Stories Homeless aims to peel back the layers of this crisis, revealing not just the numbers, but the human faces behind them. Take Marcus, a 42-year-old former construction worker who once had a stable life. "I was one paycheck away from losing it all," he shared, sitting on a bench in Center City. "When my hours got cut and rent went up, I couldn't keep up. Now I'm here, trying to figure out tomorrow." Marcus's story is one of thousands, a testament to how quickly life can unravel. After losing his apartment, he spent months sleeping in a park, relying on soup kitchens for meals. Yet Marcus found hope through a local job training program which helped him secure part-time work. "It's not much, but it's a start," he says, his eyes bright with cautious optimism. His journey reminds us that every person on the street has a story worth hearing. If Marcus's story resonates with you, consider subscribing to Street Stories Homeless to follow his journey and others as they rebuild their lives. Two, the heart of the crisis, Kensington and beyond. In neighborhoods like Kensington, the homelessness crisis takes on a vivid, undeniable form. Known for its open-air markets and deep-rooted challenges, Kensington is home to nearly 1,000 unsheltered individuals, according to local outreach data. Here, people navigate a daily struggle for survival, often compounded by addiction and untreated mental health issues. The streets are lined with makeshift shelters, tents and cardboard havens that speak to both resilience and desperation. But Kensington isn't alone. In Center City, where tourists flock to see Independence Hall, homelessness hides in plain sight. On any given day, over 300 people sleep on sidewalks or in public spaces, their belongings tucked into worn backpacks. The contrast is jarring, a city that celebrates freedom while so many lack the basic freedom of a safe place to rest. What can we do to bridge this divide? Meet Sarah, a 29-year-old mother who found herself homeless after escaping an unstable home environment. "I had my daughter with me, and we had nowhere to go," she recalls, her voice trembling. "I felt like I failed her." For months, Sarah and her young daughter stayed in shelters, facing long waits for permanent housing. Through a local nonprofit, she connected with a caseworker who helped her secure a subsidized apartment. "It's like breathing again," Sarah says, smiling as she describes her daughter's new bedroom. Her story underscores the power of targeted support and the urgent need for more of it. Join Street Stories Homeless to follow Sarah's progress and see how communities can make a difference for families like hers.
Thank you so much.
3. The ripple effect: how homelessness impacts everyone. Homelessness in Philadelphia isn't just a personal struggle, it's a community challenge that touches every resident. The city's public health system is strained, with hospitals treating thousands of homeless individuals each year for preventable conditions, costing taxpayers millions. Shelters designed to house 4,000 people are often at capacity, leaving many without a safe place to sleep. The ripple effect is clear: when basic needs go unmet, the entire community feels the impact. Consider the story of James, a 55-year-old veteran who spent years on the streets of Philadelphia. "I served my country, but I couldn't find a place to call home," he says, his voice steady but heavy. After struggling with mental health challenges, James connected with a veterans outreach program that provided counseling and housing assistance. Today, he lives in a small apartment and volunteers to help others. "I want people to know there's hope," he says. James's journey from despair to purpose is a powerful reminder of what's possible with the right support. How can we ensure more people like James get the help they need? Subscribe to Street Stories Homeless to stay updated on their stories and the solutions that can change lives. 4. Unpacking the root causes. To understand Philadelphia's homelessness crisis, we must dig into its root causes. The city's housing market is a major driver. Average rents have surged by 30% since 2015, while wages have barely budged. For low-income families, a single unexpected expense can lead to eviction. In 2022 alone, over 10,000 eviction notices were filed in Philadelphia, according to city records. Affordable housing projects exist, but waiting lists can stretch for years, leaving many with no options. Addiction, particularly the opioid crisis, is another key factor. In Kensington, the epicenter of this epidemic, nearly 70% of homeless individuals report struggling with substance use, per local health surveys. Without adequate treatment programs, many remain trapped in a cycle of dependency and homelessness. Mental health challenges also play a significant role, with 40% of the city's homeless population facing conditions like depression or PTSD and untreated due to limited access to care. What role does our society play in addressing these systemic issues? The answers aren't simple, but they start with understanding the complexity of the problem. Five, the grip of addiction, a barrier to stability. In Philadelphia's shadowed corners, addiction weaves a relentless web, ensnaring thousands in a cycle that fuels homelessness. A 2024 Philadelphia Health Department report estimates that 75% of the city's 5,700 unsheltered individuals battle substance use, with opioids at the forefront. In Kensington, where tents line gritty sidewalks, the struggle is visible daily as people navigate a world shaped by dependency. This crisis isn't just personal, it's systemic. Only 1,800 treatment slots exist citywide, leaving over 5,000 without access per recent city data. Without support, individuals face a daunting climb towards stability, their days consumed by survival rather than recovery. Why does a city so vibrant leave so many behind? The economic toll is staggering. Addiction-related healthcare costs for the homeless population drain $100 million annually from Philadelphia's budget, funds that could bolster housing or education. Yet numbers only tell half the story. Addiction robs people of dreams, connections, and hope. Street Stories Homeless shines a light on this overlooked struggle, urging viewers to see the human faces behind the statistics. Recovery programs, though scarce, offer glimmers of possibility, but scaling them requires collective will. What can we do to break this cycle? By amplifying these stories, Street Stories Homeless calls for more resources to help Philadelphians reclaim their lives, one step at a time. Six, the hidden toll on families and children. In Philadelphia, the homelessness crisis quietly disrupts the lives of families, leaving children to navigate a world of uncertainty. A 2025 report from the Philadelphia School District notes that over 3,000 students experience homelessness annually, often moving between shelters or temporary housing. These children carry their school books alongside the weight of instability, their futures at risk. The lack of family-focused resources deepens this struggle. Only 12% of Philadelphia's shelter beds are reserved for families, per the Office of Homeless Services, forcing many to sleep in crowded facilities or public spaces. Parents face agonizing choices like skipping meals to ensure their kids eat, while rising rents, up 35% since 2014, make stable housing a distant dream. For these families, education becomes a battleground. Homeless students are twice as likely to fall behind in reading and math, according to local studies, as frequent moves disrupt their learning. Yet their resilience shines. Some walk miles to school, determined to stay on track. How can we support these young dreamers in the city of brotherly love? Street Stories Homeless uncovers these stories to reveal the human cost of this crisis. The emotional toll on parents and children fuels a cycle of hardship, but community programs offering tutoring or childcare could change the narrative. By amplifying these voices, Street Stories Homeless calls for action to ensure every family finds a path to stability, giving children a chance to thrive. 7. A community under strain. The homelessness crisis in Philadelphia weaves a complex tapestry of challenges, stretching the city's social fabric thin. In neighborhoods like Fairmount, where vibrant cafes buzz with life, the presence of over 400 unsheltered individuals, per 2024 city data, creates a quiet tension. Residents navigate a delicate balance, cherishing their community's charm while grappling with the visible struggles on their streets. This strain reshapes daily life. Local businesses, particularly in Center City, report a 12% decline in evening patrons due to concerns about safety, according to a 2025 Philadelphia Chamber of Commerce survey. Shop owners like those along Walnut Street share stories of compassion, offering water or leftovers, but also frustration as foot traffic wanes. How can a city unite when its streets reflect such stark contrasts? Families feel the impact deeply. Parents in areas like West Philadelphia, where 15% of public school students experience housing instability, worry about their children's exposure to the crisis. Schools report a 20% increase in behavioral challenges among students from unstably housed families, per 2024 education records, highlighting the emotional toll on young hearts. These children carry the weight of uncertainty, their futures at risk. Street Stories Homeless uncovers these layers to reveal a truth. Homelessness doesn't just affect those without homes, it reshapes communities. The divide between the housed and unhoused fosters unease, yet it also sparks empathy. Neighbors organize clothing drives, but the need outpaces efforts, with only 25% of donated goods reaching shelters, per local nonprofit estimates. Can we bridge this gap with collective action? By sharing these stories, Street Stories Homeless invites viewers to reflect on their role in healing a strained city, fostering a shared commitment to compassion. Eight, toward solutions, a path forward. Picture of Philadelphia where every individual holds a key to their own home, a city where the homelessness crisis is met with bold, innovative solutions. Street Stories Homeless shines a light on promising steps forward, like the 2024 pilot program turning vacant lots into micro-housing units, set to house 500 people by 2026, according to city records. With only 200 units funded, scaling up is urgent to provide privacy and stability beyond crowded shelters. Job Training offers another path to hope. Initiatives like Philly Works empowered 300 homeless individuals in 2024 with skills for construction and hospitality jobs, boasting a 65% employment rate within 6 months per program data. By pairing training with mentorship, these programs rebuild confidence, helping people rewrite their futures. Preventing homelessness is just as crucial. The city's eviction diversion program mediated 1,500 cases last year, keeping 80% of families housed through landlord negotiations. Bolstering these efforts with more funding and legal aid could stop the cycle before it begins. What creative solutions would you champion to ensure no one is left on the streets? Street Stories Homeless calls on viewers to imagine a city where housing, jobs, and prevention converge to create lasting change, proving that Philadelphia can live up to its name as the city of brotherly love. Nine, the power of community and innovation. In Philadelphia, the homelessness crisis is meeting its match through the unstoppable spirit of community and the spark of innovation. Grassroots groups like Philly Restart are lighting the way, having distributed over 10,000 hygiene kits and linked 300 people to job training in 2024, according to local nonprofit data. These volunteers aren't just helping, they're building bridges, showing that every small act counts. Street Stories Homeless celebrates these everyday heroes who remind us that change starts with us. Technology is amplifying these efforts, offering new hope. A 2025 initiative by the Philadelphia Office of Homeless Services launched a mobile app that connects 600 unsheltered individuals to open shelter beds in real time. This isn't just convenience, it's a lifeline, ensuring no one is left searching in vain. Digital tools are also empowering outreach teams. Social workers now use GPS-enabled apps to find those in need faster, cutting response time significantly. Meanwhile, programs like Tech Impact have trained 150 homeless residents in digital skills, paving the way for tech jobs and brighter futures. What if every city embraced these innovations? By weaving community heart with technological ingenuity, Philadelphia is crafting a blueprint for change. Street Stories Homeless urges you to subscribe and join this journey as we uncover how collective action and smart solutions can redefine the city of brotherly love for everyone. 10. What you can't do. And you have the power to reshape Philadelphia's homelessness crisis, and Street Stories Homeless is here to guide you toward meaningful action. Start by volunteering at local shelters where your presence can offer hope and connection. In 2024, Philadelphia's shelters saw a 15% surge in volunteer hours, yet with over 5,700 people unsheltered, more help is needed to meet the demand. Consider donating essentials like hygiene kits, warm clothes, or non-perishable food. Organizations like Philly House provide over 10,000 meals monthly, but often face shortages that your contributions can address, bringing comfort to those on the streets. Your voice can drive systemic change. Advocate for policies that boost affordable housing and mental health resources. Community petitions in 2025 secured $5 million more for housing programs, showing the impact of collective action. Sharing Street Stories homeless content online can spark conversations and challenge stereotypes about homelessness. Most importantly, embrace small acts of kindness. A warm smile or a shared meal can remind someone they're not invisible. How will you make a difference in the city of brotherly love? Like, comment, and subscribe to Street Stories Homeless to stay inspired and join a community committed to transforming lives, one step at a time. 11. A call for collective action. The homelessness crisis in Philadelphia demands a united front, inviting every resident to play a role in transforming lives. Street Stories Homeless envisions a city where the 5,700 unsheltered individuals, as reported in 2023, find hope through collective action. This isn't just a dream, it's a call to rally together. No single group can solve this alone. Nonprofits like Project Home have housed over 1,000 people since 2020, but they need partners. Local businesses can spark change. Imagine bakeries training baristas or tech firms offering coding workshops. A 2024 city initiative paired 150 homeless individuals with job mentors, with 65% securing employment within months. What unique skills could you or your community share? Grassroots efforts are powerful. Neighborhoods hosting weekly meal drives or hygiene kit distributions reach hundreds, building bridges of trust. These acts remind those on the streets they're seen and valued. Street Stories Homeless highlights these stories to ignite inspiration. Could your block organize a similar effort to uplift those in need? Advocacy is the final piece. By championing policies for affordable housing, only 500 new units are slated by 2026. A fraction of what's needed, citizens can push for systemic change. Share these narratives, engage in discussions, and amplify voices that are too often ignored.
Would you like spaghetti? Yeah? All right. Okay. You're welcome.
Together we can reshape Philadelphia into a city where compassion triumphs, proving that collective action can light the way to a brighter, more inclusive future. Conclusion: a shared future. Philadelphia's homelessness crisis is a mirror reflecting the city's heart, its strengths and its struggles. With over 5,700 people living on the streets each night, according to the 2023 Annual Homeless Assessment Report, the challenge is daunting, but it's also a call to reimagine what the city of brotherly love can become. Street Stories Homeless believes that every individual deserves a place to call home, and this vision starts with collective action. The path forward lies in tackling root causes, housing shortages, addiction, and mental health disparities. Philadelphia's plan to build 1,000 affordable housing units by 2027 is a step. But it's not enough when 10,000 eviction notices are filed annually. What will it take to close this gap? By investing in prevention like rental assistance programs that saved 2,000 families from eviction in 2024, we can stop the cycle before it begins. Communities hold the key. From volunteers serving meals to businesses offering job training, Philadelphians are already weaving a tapestry of hope. Street Stories Homeless invites you to join this movement, share these stories, volunteer, or advocate for change. Imagine a city where no child sleeps on the street, where every story of struggle becomes one of triumph. Together, we can redefine Philadelphia's future. Like, comment, and subscribe to Street Stories Homeless to stay part of this journey, amplifying voices that deserve to be heard and building a city where compassion reigns.
People that have mental illness.
Some people are possessed by demons out here.
Oh, are they?
Family dying and being left alone.
Being left alone?
Yeah.
By
It's things like, it's so hard being homeless out here with the harassment from the cops. They always want to take your stuff, throw it away. I've lost out countless IDs and wallets just to the police coming and throwing things away. Our mayor, he sucks, but that's my opinion. I mean, I can't.
like your
My
parents,
dad died, yeah.
your mom and dad died?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's alright.
Were you young when that happened?
Not really. It was when I was 22.
I can't do what I want to do. I can't sleep right.
Can't sleep right.
I gotta make sure that I'm watching myself in my tent.
Yeah.
We out here and we out here. We do what we can to survive out here.
Like the danger of somebody maybe, attacking you every day. Yeah.
Every day and every night.
Is that you have to do what the cops tell you to do when they come through, and they're a lot worse than mom and dad. They take your ass to jail if you don't listen.
Exactly.
They don't take that back talking shit.
Just a phone number you call on your phone, 211. Homeless services, they'll get you shelters, food, clothes, crap like that.
Here we go.
Bullshit! 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 Enough! No one stop! No one stop!
Welcome to Street Stories Homeless.
San Bernardino, a city nestled in the heart of California, was once a beacon of opportunity, its streets alive with the hum of progress. But today, as we explore another chapter in Stories Homeless News, we uncover a challenge that's reshaping its future: homelessness. This isn't just a story about those without a place to call home. It's about a community searching for solutions, a reflection of broader systemic struggles, and a call to understand the human side of a growing crisis. Through Stories Homeless News, we aim to shine a light on the root causes, the ripple effects, and the pathways forward for San Bernardino, inviting you to join us in this journey of discovery. If you're moved by the real-life challenges and hope-filled solutions we uncover in Stories Homeless News, please hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay connected. We'd love to have you along for more stories like this one. 1. The current landscape of homelessness in San Bernardino? San Bernardino streets tell a complex story, one where the number of individuals without stable housing has surged. Recent data paints a stark picture. Over the past 5 years, the homeless population here has grown by more than 20%, with local counts estimating over 2,000 individuals affected annually. What's driving this rise? Skyrocketing housing costs, a 30% jump in average rent since 2020, combined with a shortage of affordable homes and limited social support systems, are pushing more people to the margins.
So are you out here homeless?
Yeah, I'm homeless.
Yeah, how long?
I've been homeless for about 9 years now.
Far as any addictions out here?
I started using meth after I came out here, and then as far as anything else goes, it's like I'm just like, I don't know, I guess addicted to not having any rules.
What's your journey that led you up to your homelessness and being addicted? What were you doing prior to this?
Well, I had a job. I was working with my mom. I was working with my mom, and that didn't really work out. It kind of fell through, and after that, it was like I used to have family out here, but they moved. First it was my mom and my grandmother, and then my brother was living there. They all lived at the house, and then they moved out. My brother ended up getting the house escrowed to him. He's my younger brother, but he works for Pepsi Cola, so.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's things like, it's so hard being homeless out here with the harassment from the cops. They always want to take your stuff, throw it away. I've lost countless IDs and wallets just to the police coming and throwing things away. Our mayor, he sucks, but that's my opinion. I mean, I can't really speak on it, As that you have to do what the cops tell you to do when they come through, and they're a lot worse than mom and dad. They take your ass to jail if you don't listen.
Exactly.
They don't take that back talking shit.
Yeah. And is it mainly, mostly the PD or the sheriffs that come around?
Sheriffs are cool when they come around. They help. The PD though, and it's only because our mayor put out this order that he wants all the homeless cleaned up off the streets.
Back at MacArthur Park, surrounded.
Many find themselves in public spaces, with about 60% of San Bernardino's homeless population living in parks, near transit hubs, or in makeshift shelters, according to a 2023 community survey. Basic needs like food, clean water, and healthcare often feel out of reach. Imagine waking up each day unsure of where your next meal will come from. How would that shape your hope for tomorrow? Areas near downtown and bus stations, home to nearly 40% of the city's homeless, are particularly strained, lacking the infrastructure to meet this growing need. Efforts to help exist, but they're stretched thin. Local shelters and services can only accommodate about half of those seeking refuge, with an estimated 1,000 beds short of demand per city reports. This gap leaves many in a cycle of uncertainty, a challenge that doesn't just affect individuals, it touches everyone in San Bernardino, from families to businesses, as the community grapples with how to move forward.
So, what's your name?
We'll call me Mike.
Mike, okay.
My story, you want my story?
How long you been out on the streets?
Maybe under a year, just under a year probably.
Where are you from?
San Bernardino here. My grandma and we all grew up around Highland. I grew up around here. I love San Bernardino. It's still my home funds.
You lost your
government
money.
Funds. Yeah, I lost my money. So, but I recently just got it back, so I have to wait like a month before I can move into a place. But other than that, ever since I got those funds back, things are sort of looking up. Who would end homelessness? That's a big question.
Just in general, just your thoughts, your opinion.
But a tax for people who work, like a homeless tax, and that money is used to take care of the homeless. Maybe they could tax people's checks just to take care of the homeless.
Right, so just
I don't know if a lot of people would disagree with that, but I think that may be a good idea.
And what would you do with that money? Like build shelters or?
Build shelters. I'd probably buy a few warehouses out. It doesn't matter, how they want to do it.
Okay.
I would just let them sleep in the shelter, as long as nobody was fucking up or being unsafe.
Mm-hmm. People that have mental illness.
Some people are possessed by demons out here.
Oh, are they? What's the craziest thing you've seen out here, man?
Well, I was living on G a couple years ago, right?
G Street?
Yeah, I was living in like a men's home. I was sitting on the porch one day, right? And a car drove up talking to some prostitute, and then they blew her away.
Really?
I was sitting on my front porch. I had to talk to a detective and everything. But that's probably the craziest thing I've seen. I never thought I'd see anything crazy out here.
Wow.
Call 211 Homeless Services.
211? That's the city?
No, it's just a phone number you call on your phone. 211 Homeless Services. They'll get you shelters, food, clothes, crap like that.
Okay.
As we peel back the layers of this issue in Stories Homeless News, let's consider the broader impact. The presence of temporary camps can strain public spaces, and surveys show 75% of residents feel uneasy about their neighborhood's changing dynamics. This isn't just about numbers, it's about a city searching for balance, a theme we'll explore further as we dive into what's fueling this crisis. Two, root causes behind the crisis. To understand homelessness in San Bernardino, we need to look beneath the surface where systemic challenges have taken root. First and foremost is the housing crisis. The California Housing Partnership reports that rent for a two-bedroom apartment has climbed 25% in 5 years, averaging $1,800 monthly in 2024. For low-income families earning a median of $40,000 annually, that's nearly 54% of their income, far beyond the recommended 30%. Add to that a shortage of over 10,000 affordable housing units, and it's clear why so many are priced out.
All right, so what is your name?
Michelle Renee Guadagnoli.
Where are you from?
San Bernardino, Highland, California.
And how long have you been out here in the homeless area?
I'd say roughly like maybe 4 years.
About 4 years?
5 years going on.
Brought you to being in the situation of being homeless?
Family dying and being left alone.
Being left alone?
Yeah.
By like family members that you might have depended on, like parents?
Mom and dad died, yeah.
Your mom and dad died?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right.
Were you young when that happened?
Not really. It was when I was 22. Humbling.
Humbling?
You learn how to like really go with nothing, and from there you appreciate the smallest little things.
The smaller things, right? Yeah. Pretty cold. Does it get cold at night?
Freezing, dude.
Freezing?
Like to where you're shivering. I didn't even feel like I was gonna be able to walk again. Like sometimes when it gets so cold, you can't even feel your toes when you wake up. You don't put a blanket on, you're like literally freezing.
Stagnant wages only deepen the divide. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics notes that low-skilled job wages in the region have barely budged, growing just 5% since 2019, while living costs have soared. New luxury developments dot the skyline, but affordable options remain scarce, leaving families with nowhere to turn. Have you ever felt the weight of bills piling up faster than your paycheck? That's the reality for many here. Then there's the social safety net, or lack thereof. The National Alliance to End Homelessness highlights that support programs are often underfunded and bogged down by red tape. A 2022 San Bernardino survey found 40% of those seeking shelter were turned away due to long wait lists or processing delays. For individuals facing mental health challenges or substance use, nearly 25% of the homeless population. Per the California Department of Public Health, these barriers can feel insurmountable.
Hi, what's your name?
Jerry.
Jerry? What about your situation? How is it that you came to become homeless?
Well, I was living up in Northern California with a boyfriend, and the situation started becoming violent, so I left. My daughter sent for me, and my daughter and I had an apartment. Well, we were renting a room from somebody, and we were paying them rent, and they weren't paying the rent, so we got evicted out of there. Then we were living in her car. Car broke down.
And so how long have you been here at Paris Park?
Since March.
Oh, since March. Oh, okay, I got you. The toughest part about being homeless?
Not having a home.
Not having a home, of course.
Mental health and addiction are critical pieces of the puzzle. Without accessible treatment, many struggle to find stability, trapped in a cycle where housing feels like a distant dream. These aren't isolated issues, they're interconnected, and as we move forward in Stories Homeless News, we'll see how they ripple out to affect not just individuals, but the entire fabric of the city.
I can't do what I want to do. I can't sleep right.
Can't sleep right.
I gotta make sure that I'm watching myself in my tent.
Yeah.
We out here and we do what we can to survive out here.
Like the danger of somebody maybe, you know, attacking you every day. Yeah.
Every day and every night.
3. A personal story, John's journey. John's story, a poignant chapter in Stories Homeless News, unfolds against the vibrant backdrop of San Bernardino, where he once carved out a life as solid as the homes he built. A 45-year-old construction worker, John earned $50,000 a year, enough to afford a cozy apartment on the city's west side, where he'd spend evenings grilling with neighbors or cheering for the Dodgers under a starlit sky. His hands, calloused from years of framing houses, held dreams of launching his own contracting business, sketching blueprints in a worn notebook he kept by his bedside. Life wasn't lavish, but it was his, until 2021, when the ground shifted beneath him. His employer, a local firm that had weathered decades, buckled under economic strain, part of an 8% contraction in San Bernardino's construction sector that left 2,000 workers jobless, per 2021 labor statistics. John applied to over 70 jobs across the Inland Empire, from warehouses to road crews, but the market was saturated, and rejections piled up like unpaid bills. Have you ever poured your heart into something only to watch it slip away? By fall, John's savings were gone, drained by rent he could no longer cover. An eviction notice arrived, cold and final, and with no family to lean on, his parents gone, his sister 2,000 miles away in Ohio, he packed his life into a faded duffel bag. The streets of San Bernardino, once his workplace, became his reality, joining the 40% of the city's homeless population, over 2,000 strong, living in parks, near bus stations, or under makeshift tarps, per 2023 community surveys. Nights were restless, the hum of traffic a stark contrast to the quiet of his old bedroom, and finding food was a daily gamble. Sup kitchens, serving 500 meals a day across the city, often ran dry before John's turn, per nonprofit recruit for ration stale bread or hope for kindness from a passerby. Shelters were no easier. With only 500 beds available, 40% of seekers were turned away nightly in 22, per city data, forcing John to seek refuge under a sycamore tree or a quiet overpass. The weight of invisibility settled over John like dust. The man who once rallied his crew with quick wit now spoke less, his laughter replaced by a quiet resolve to keep going. Loneliness was a heavier burden than hunger, a constant reminder of how far he'd fallen from the life he'd known. Yet he held on to fragments of himself, scribbling house designs on napkins from food lines, each line a tether to his dreams of building again. He'd share stories with others in the same struggle, trading tales of better days over a shared coffee, finding solace in fleeting connections. But the system meant to lift him up felt like a labyrinth. Aid applications dragged on, with 60% of 2023 applicants stalled by bureaucracy per local program stats, and job training programs, though promising, served only 200 people in 2022, barely a dent in the need. Mental health support, vital for the 25% of homeless individuals facing challenges like anxiety per California health data, was a distant hope with wait lists stretching 6 months or more. What does it take to keep faith when every step forward feels like 2 steps back? Still, John found glimmers of light in San Bernardino's heart. At a downtown outreach center, a volunteer named Maria saw potential in his steady hands and sharp mind. connecting him to a day labor program that offered sporadic work, $80 for a landscaping gig, $120 for a warehouse shift, enough for a warm meal or a clean shirt. In 2023, similar efforts reached 1,500 individuals, per nonprofit reports, offering not just resources but a sense of being seen. Maria's encouragement wasn't just practical, it was personal, reminding John of his worth when he'd nearly forgotten it himself. He'd spend evenings at the library, free Wi-Fi letting him search for jobs or watch old game highlights, small escapes that fueled his resilience. Community moments like these, 1,000 blankets distributed last winter, per local drives, kept him tethered to hope, proof that San Bernardino hadn't given up on its own.
So I guess somebody jumped.
John's journey mirrors thousands in Stories Homeless News, a testament to human endurance amid systemic gaps. With only 15% of new housing in 2023 priced for low-income residents, per city planning records, and services meeting half the demand, people like John aren't failing, the system is. He still sketches, still dreams of a steady job, a one-bedroom where he can hang his Dodgers cap and call it home. His story asks us to look closer. What would change if we built bridges instead of barriers?
I guess they arrested these guys because they won't get their bikes and stuff off the road.
John's out there, one of many, his spirit a spark waiting for the right kindling, a job program with more spots, a shelter with enough beds, a city that says you belong. As we carry his story forward, let's commit to a San Bernardino where every dreamer finds their footing, where no one's left to face the streets alone. 4. The ripple effects on individuals and communities. Homelessness doesn't exist in a vacuum. It reshapes lives and communities alike. For those without a home, daily life is a marathon of meeting basic needs. Chronic health challenges and stress are common, worsened by limited access to medical care or proper nutrition. The emotional toll is just as heavy, with many grappling with feelings of isolation or hopelessness, according to local outreach reports. But the impact stretches beyond the individual. San Bernardino's public services are under strain, hospitals, shelters, and emergency programs are stretched thin, with budgets allocating millions annually to address immediate needs per city financial data. Public spaces like parks and transit areas bear the brunt, with cleanup costs rising 15% in the last 3 years, according to municipal records. What do you think it means for a community when its shared spaces feel less welcoming? Businesses feel it too. A 2023 Local Business Association survey revealed 75% of shop owners reported fewer customers due to concerns about nearby homeless encampments. This isn't about blame, it's about a city stretched to its limits where resources struggle to keep pace with demand. Nationally, homelessness costs communities over $12 billion yearly in services, per the National Alliance to End Homelessness, pulling funds from other priorities like schools or infrastructure. Economically, the loss is felt in missed potential. Without stable housing, individuals can't easily join the workforce, reducing tax contributions and local spending. It's a cycle where everyone loses ground, setting the stage for why solutions, both immediate and long-term, are so vital. Let's explore what those solutions might look like. 5. The power of housing and social support. In San Bernardino, as Stories Homeless News reveals, housing is the heartbeat of hope, but it's slipping out of reach for too many. With rents up 30% since 2020, $1,800 for a two-bedroom. Per 2024 HUD data, families earning $40,000 spend over half their income, far past the 30% ideal. A shortage of 10,000 affordable units, per the California Housing Partnership, leaves thousands teetering on eviction's edge. Can you feel the weight of that struggle? The fix starts with building homes people can afford. Tax credits and subsidies could spur projects for those earning under $50,000, like Riverside's 1,200 new units in 2023. Loosening zoning laws to allow housing near jobs and transit could add 15% more supply, per 2022 studies. Picture a city where a short commute doesn't cost you your home. That's the goal. Housing needs backup, though. Social services are the glue. Only 60% of aid seekers get timely help now, per 2023 data bogged down by red tape. Streamlined systems like LA's 2022 digital portal that cut waits by 40% could change that. Outreach to spread the word is key. 40% miss aid due to unawareness, per surveys. Imagine help arriving before desperation sets in. Mental health and addiction support are vital, reaching the 25% of homeless individuals affected, per state health stats. Community clinics, or telehealth, like San Diego's 2023 program serving 1,500, could bridge gaps. Job training, with 70% of 2022's 200 trainees landing work, per local data, builds independence. Doesn't it inspire you to think of someone stepping into a new career? This is about more than systems, it's about dignity. Housing and services intertwine, creating a net that lifts everyone. Through Stories Homeless News, we see a San Bernardino where every door leads to opportunity. Join us, like, comment, subscribe to help make it real. 6. Pathways to end homelessness.
At nighttime, it's
San Bernardino's fight against homelessness, illuminated by Stories Homeless News, hinges on a bold, multifaceted plan: more homes, stronger services, and pathways to opportunity. Affordable housing is the cornerstone. Over 10,000 low-cost units are needed, per 2023 reports, as rents eating up 54% of incomes push families out. Partnerships with developers, fueled by tax breaks, could build 1,200 homes like Riverside did last year. Zoning tweaks to allow affordable projects near transit would weave stability into the city's fabric. Isn't it time everyone had a place to call home? Services must match that ambition. Only 60% of aid seekers get timely help now, per 2024 stats, but streamlined systems could hit 90%. Mental health and addiction care, vital for 25% of those affected, needs mobile clinics, as just 30% access treatment in 2023. Job training shines bright with 70% of 200 trainees finding work in 2022. Scaling up could lift hundreds more, turning hope into paychecks. Work is a lifeline restoring purpose. Vocational courses in trades or tech, paired with employer connections, could mirror LA's 65% job placement rate from 2024. Micro-grants for startups, 40 businesses bloomed from 50 grants in 2023, spark dreams. Imagine someone launching a food cart, building a future from grit and vision. What could that mean for a community? Community fuels the fire. Nonprofits fed 10,000 people last year but need volunteers. Businesses can host job fairs. Residents can push for $50 million in proposed 2024 funding. Every act, donating a blanket, signing a petition, builds a net that catches everyone. These steps, blending homes, help and hustle, rewrite San Bernardino's story, proving that with belief and effort, no one's left behind. Seven, a broader perspective. San Bernardino's homelessness crisis, illuminated through Stories Homeless News, is more than a local challenge. It's a vivid reflection of what happens when systems falter, yet it pulses with the promise of renewal. Over 2,000 people navigate life without homes here, per 2023 counts, caught in a storm of runaway costs and thinning safety nets. Housing, the cornerstone of stability, is slipping away. Only 15% of last year's new units were affordable per city records, leaving families earning $40,000 a year to fork over 54% of their income for rent, nearly double HUD's advised 30%. Services, meant to be a lifeline, reach just 60% of those reaching out. Program data stranding many, including the 25% wrestling with mental health hurdles in a maze of delays and denials. But let's shatter the myths that cloud our view. This isn't about personal shortcomings, it's about a world where wages, inching up just 5% since 2019 per Blaze stats, can't pace with $1,500 monthly apartments. Imagine clocking long hours, your paycheck evaporating before rent's due. How do you hold on to hope? Stories Homeless News invites us to see beyond labels, to recognize neighbors with dreams as real as our own, urging us to trade judgment for empathy and spark a shift toward solutions. The path forward is no mirage, it's paved with possibility. Urban planners envision 5,000 affordable homes by 2030, each a haven for someone starting anew. Mental health programs, now serving just 30% of those in need, could leap forward with mobile clinics, mirroring Riverside's 20% access boost in 2022. Job training shines bright. 2022's pilot saw 140 of 200 participants land steady work. Her workforce reports proving skills can unlock futures. These aren't just fixes, they're seeds of a stronger San Bernardino, sprouting hope where hardship once stood. None of this blooms without us. Volunteers wove 15,000 hours into shelters last year per nonprofits, each moment a stitch in a community quilt. Advocacy, pushing for funds like 2024's proposed $50 million housing pool, gives voice to the unheard. What could you do? Share a meal, join a town hall, or pass this story along. Every act, no matter how small, builds a net that catches everyone. San Bernardino streets ache for a new chapter, one where resilience and heart rewrite the narrative. With Stories Homeless News as our guide, let's run this race together, crafting a city where every person finds a home and a chance to soar. 8. A call to collective action. San Bernardino's future is in our hands, and in this chapter of Stories Homeless News, we're calling on everyone to join the fight against homelessness with bold collective action. Picture a city where every person has a home. Governments can lead us there with smart policies, like the $50 million California proposed in 2024 for housing, potentially adding 2,000 units by 2030, per urban planning estimates. Streamlining aid to reach 90% of applicants, up from just 60% per local data, could give thousands a fresh start. What policy would you champion to make housing a reality for all? But change doesn't stop with officials. It thrives on community energy, the heartbeat of Stories Homeless News.
Did you see what he's reading? That book?
Volunteering at shelters, where 10,000 meals were served in 2023 thanks to locals, per nonprofit reports, creates moments of connection, a warm meal, a shared smile that rebuild trust. Donating blankets or hygiene and kits, like the 5,000 items collected last year for 1,000 people, per charity logs, strengthens our safety net. Every act, no matter how small, weaves hope into San Bernardino's fabric. Raising awareness amplifies our impact. Sharing these stories like we do in Stories Homeless News sparks dialogue that shifts minds. Posting about a fundraiser or discussing the 10,000 unit housing gap per recent stats can drive change, as seen in 2022 when a campaign boosted shelter funds by 20% per city records. Have you ever shared a cause that opened someone's eyes? Advocacy pushes us further, signing petitions for zoning reforms, which could unlock 1,500 new homes per 2023 proposals, or supporting groups like Habitat for Humanity, which built 50 homes last year, reshapes our city. Your voice in town halls matters. This is our moment, whether it's an hour at a food bank, a dollar given, or a story told. Every step counts. In Stories Homeless News, we've seen one volunteer's job training lift 100 people into work in 2023, per workforce stats. Together we can build a San Bernardino where empathy fuels progress and every street shines with possibility. What's your first move to join us? Nine. Conclusion: building a hopeful tomorrow. San Bernardino's homelessness crisis, explored through Stories Homeless News, isn't a dead end, it's a crossroads brimming with possibility. Picture a city where 5,000 new affordable homes rise by 2030, each one a beacon of hope for families yearning for stability as city planners envision. It's a vision of neighborhoods alive with connection, where no one is left wondering where they'll sleep tonight. Can you imagine the ripple effect of that change? Housing alone won't rewrite this story. Services are the scaffolding. By boosting aid programs to reach 90% of those in need, up from 60% in 2023 data, San Bernardino can lift thousands. Job training, like the 2022 program that saw 70% of 200 participants find work, and mental health support can turn dreams into reality. These efforts don't just mend lives, they weave a stronger community fabric. The real magic happens when we all step up. Last year, 10,000 meals reached those in need thanks to volunteers per local nonprofits. Advocacy for better policies amplifies every voice, building a chorus for change. What could your next step be? Maybe a conversation that sparks action. Every choice counts, stitching together a safety net that holds everyone. Change takes time, but San Bernardino's streets are ready for a new narrative, one of grit, heart, and opportunity. The people here aren't just their struggles, they're our neighbors poised to soar with support. Join us, donate, volunteer, or share this story. If Stories Homeless News moved you, like, comment, and subscribe to dive deeper into America's heart. Together, let's craft a future where every person has a home and a shot at greatness.
I never been homeless, so I didn't think I would ever become like this. I had a life at one time. Everything was taken from me, you know, and then I ended up homeless. It's okay. But I was cold because I had no blankets. I have a bad leg and sleeping on the ground, that didn't help. Begging, it's not good to beg. I never had to beg in my life until recently.
Welcome to Street Stories Homeless.
This is Street Stories Homeless, where we unearth the raw, pulsing truths buried beneath the glitz of America's sunlit shores. Imagine Florida in 2025, a dazzling dreamland where 31,000 people drift like shadows, sleeping in tents and underpasses while the state funnels $950 million a year into a so-called solution that's crumbling faster than a sandcastle at high tide. Jaw-dropping, isn't it? As tourists twirl cocktails along Miami's neon-lit beaches, families vanish into the margins, erased by a paradise that rakes in billions yet lets its own fade into the night. What's the twisted secret Florida's hiding behind its swaying palms? Why does a state bathed in 237 days of sunshine a year leave thousands to shiver in despair? Every makeshift camp, every hollowed gaze, whispers a story that'll grip your soul. Dare to dive into the underbelly of this glittering lie. Stay with Street Stories Homeless, because these revelations will shake you to your core. One, a dream turned to dust. Florida's beaches, with their 1,350 miles of coastline, once beckoned retirees with promises of tranquility. In the 1980s, people flocked from colder states, trading snow for Sarasota's gentle waves or Naples' golden sunsets. The vision was simple: a modest home, a quiet porch, and neighbors who waved hello. But that dream has crumbled for many, eroded by policies favoring shiny new developments over the people who built this state. Affordable homes vanished to make way for luxury condos, while rent prices climbed beyond reach. Take Margaret, a 68-year-old former librarian from Fort Myers, where the median home price now hovers at $375,000. She spent decades organizing books and teaching kids to read, but after her savings dwindled and her rent doubled, she found herself living in a battered sedan parked near a public beach. "I thought Florida was where I'd find peace," she says, her voice soft but steady, "but now I'm just trying to stay warm at night." Her story is one of countless in Street Stories Homeless, where the promise of a golden retirement has turned to dust. The state's focus on attracting investors, boasting over $20 billion in tourism revenue annually, has left ordinary residents behind. When tax dollars flow to beachfront hotels instead of community welfare, people like Margaret slip through the cracks. Can a place still call itself a paradise when its own people can't afford to stay? As we peel back the layers of Florida's glossy image, let's explore the invisible lives shaping street stories homeless. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support our mission of sharing these untold stories. Two, the invisible ecosystem. Beneath Florida's 237 sunny days a year, a hidden world thrives, one of tent cities and makeshift shelters. Over 31,000 Floridians lack stable housing, a number that grows as rent outpaces income. Many assume homelessness stems from personal failure, but the truth is simpler and more brutal. Survival costs more than most can earn. In cities like Tampa, where a one-bedroom apartment averages $2,200 a month, even full-time workers struggle to keep a roof overhead. This is Street Stories Homeless, and here we meet Javier, a 45-year-old construction worker in Orlando, where the homelessness rate has risen 9% since 2020. Javier builds the very condos that tower over the city, yet at night he sleeps in a tent near Lake Eola Park. I work 50 hours a week, he says, his hands callous from labor, but after rent, food, and gas, there's nothing left to save. His story echoes across Florida, where the gap between wages and living costs pushes even the employed to the streets. Tent cities sprout under highways and in vacant lots, creating communities of resilience amid despair. Yet local governments often prioritize appearances, clearing camps before events like Miami's Art Basel, which draws 80,000 visitors annually. These cleanups don't solve homelessness, they just hide it. Why does a state so rich in resources let its people fade into the shadows? As we move deeper into Florida's divided reality, let's uncover the stark contrasts defining Street Stories Homeless. Three, Miami, a tale of two cities. Miami's skyline, with its 300 high-rise buildings, dazzles from afar, a beacon of wealth and opportunity. Tourists flock to South Beach, spending $500 on oceanfront dinners, while fashion weeks and yacht shows paint the city as a playground for the elite. But step away from the neon lights, and you'll find a different Miami, one where nearly 9,000 people live without stable housing in areas like Overtown and downtown. Here Street Stories Homeless introduces us to Clara, a 52-year-old former nurse in Miami-Dade County, where the average rent for a studio apartment is $2,100. After losing her job during the pandemic, Clara couldn't keep up with rising costs and now lives in a makeshift shelter near a freeway. I used to help people heal, she says, her eyes tracing the horizon, but now I'm the one who needs saving. Her story reveals a city that invests heavily in its image, $15 million annually on tourism promotion, while cutting funds for social housing and mental health support. In some neighborhoods, the challenges are so overwhelming that even police hesitate to patrol. Instead of reintegrating the homeless, authorities often displace them, pushing tents out of sight before international events. This isn't progress, it's a facade. How can a city shine so brightly while so many of its people live in darkness? Let's journey further into the economic forces reshaping Florida's promise. Four, the cost of survival. Florida's 581 incorporated cities once offered a lower cost of living compared to northern states, drawing dreamers with modest savings. Today, that affordability is a memory, insane. Petersburg, where the median rent for a one-bedroom is $2,000, families spend nearly all their income on housing. The state's median annual income, $45,000, can't keep pace, leaving workers and retirees in a constant struggle to survive. Real estate investors snapping up properties in cities like Jacksonville, where home prices have risen 25% since 2021 drive rents higher. Entire apartment blocks become profit machines while families face eviction. Florida's lack of rent control or mandates for low-income housing lets the market dictate terms, favoring the wealthy. Each week, hundreds of households lose their homes not for lack of effort, but because the system prioritizes profit over people. The math is unforgiving. A minimum wage worker needs 80 hours a week to afford a basic apartment. For those on fixed pensions or social benefits, the gap is even wider. What does it mean when hard work isn't enough to keep a home? As we explore the human toll of this crisis, let's see how even basic needs like food have become luxuries in Street Stories Homeless. Five, when meals become dreams. In a state with 2.7 million acres of farmland, it's hard to fathom that a hot meal could be out of reach. Yet, in places like West Palm Beach, where food insecurity affects 15% of residents, thousands line up daily for a chance at a simple meal: cold noodles, a slice of bread, or a can of beans. Feeding Tampa Bay reports that 1 in 6 adults faces food insecurity, with 1 in 7 seniors forced to choose between food, rent, or medicine. This is where Street Stories Homeless brings us back to Clara's story, but also to the broader struggle. Food inflation has driven prices for essentials like eggs and milk to their highest in 20 years, while programs like SNAP face cuts. Food banks, once lifelines, are stretched thin. In Clearwater, where 12% of households rely on food assistance, distribution centers often run out before everyone is served. The elderly, children, and workers stand in quiet lines outside churches and parking lots, not for handouts but for survival. Farmers and pickers who help feed the nation now go hungry themselves. When a society can't ensure a meal for its most vulnerable, what does that say about its values? Let's turn to the workers who keep Florida running, yet find no stability in return. Six, working without a home. In the pulsing heart of Florida's 21 million strong tapestry, where every sunrise fuels dreams of a better tomorrow, a quiet army of workers keeps the state's engine roaring. From the bustling boardwalks of Daytona Beach, generating $6 billion in tourism revenue each year, to the humming kitchens and warehouses, servers, cleaners, and delivery drivers weave the fabric of daily life. Yet for too many, the day's end brings no warm hearth, only the dim glow of a car dashboard, the rustle of a tent, or the cold concrete of an underpass. This is Street Stories Homeless, where we uncover the paradox of the working homeless whose sweat powers Florida, but whose lives teeter on the edge.
Peace. Sorry, man. Hey, can I help you unload, man?
Consider the rhythm of their days, rising at dawn, donning crisp uniforms, and pouring heart into every task. These workers, hospital janitors, supermarket cashiers, rideshare drivers, are the unsung heroes of cities like Fort Lauderdale, where a one-bedroom apartment demands $2,300 monthly. A minimum wage job, scraping together $1,800 a month, falls woefully short. Even those earning above the minimum, perhaps $50,000 a year, find 70% of their income devoured by rent, double the state's recommended housing cost threshold. In Daytona, where 11% of residents face housing instability, workers like Maria, a 34-year-old hotel maid, sleep in a borrowed van after cleaning rooms for tourists. I make their vacations perfect, she says, her smile bittersweet, but I can't afford a bed of my own. Freelancers, from gig drivers to part-time landscapers, fare no better, slipping through the cracks of traditional aid in places like Kissimmee, where rent rose 22% in 2024. Their labor fuels Florida's $1.3 trillion economy, yet stability remains a mirage. When hard work can't secure a home, what does that say about the American promise? As we linger on their resilience, let's ask, how can a state so vibrant leave its workers in the shadows? Seven, a safety net unraveling. Picture a tightrope stretched across Florida's shimmering horizon, fraying strand by strand under the weight of forgotten promises. This is Street Stories Homeless, where we unravel the fragile safety nets meant to catch those teetering on the edge. In a state with no personal income tax, drawing investors to cities like Sarasota, where the homeless population spiked 7% in 2024, the budget for social programs starves. Proposed federal cuts, flagged by the Florida Policy Institute, threaten to slash Medicaid, SNAP, and housing assistance programs that keep millions afloat. In Sarasota alone, 1,200 people rely on these lifelines, yet the state's $117 billion 2025 budget prioritizes tourism over triage. These cuts aren't just numbers, they're lifelines severed. Imagine a single mother in Pensacola, where 14% of seniors scrape by below the poverty line, choosing between a doctor's visit or a week's groceries. Without SNAP, her children go to bed hungry. Without housing aid, eviction looms. The rhetoric balancing budgets, fostering self-reliance sounds practical, but it ignores a raw truth: people can't rise without a foundation. Florida's tax system, lauded for luring billionaires, siphons funds from shelters and clinics, leaving the vulnerable to fend for themselves. In places like Key West, where 11% of residents face housing instability, the absence of support breeds despair. A missed rent payment can spiral into a tent by the roadside. Yet the state pours $20 million into festival promotions while community programs beg for scraps. How can a society claim compassion when its weakest are left adrift? This is Street Stories Homeless, asking, what happens when the net unravels completely? These stories demand we rethink priorities, ensuring no one falls through the cracks of a paradise that's forgotten its own. Eight, the silent resilience of Florida's forgotten. In the heart of Florida's 27 state parks, where visitors marvel at crystal springs and ancient oaks, a quieter story unfolds, one of resilience amid hardship. This is Street Stories Homeless, shining a light on those who carve out existence in the margins of a state that boasts $1.3 trillion in GDP. In places like Ocala, where the poverty rate reaches 13.5%, people like Sarah, a 39-year-old former barista, embody the unyielding spirit of survival. After her landlord raised her rent by 30% in 2024, Sarah now lives in a patch tent near Silver Springs, relying on a small solar charger to keep her phone alive for job applications.
Okay.
I'm not giving up, she says, her voice steady despite the odds. This is still my home.
One for my neighbor, please. One for your neighbor. Oh, okay. Yeah, here you go.
These hidden encampments, tucked away from tourist trails, reveal a stark truth: Florida's prosperity, fueled by 140 million annual visitors, bypasses many of its own. The state's 2025 budget allocates $3 billion for infrastructure, Yet shelters in counties like Marion struggle with just $10 million in combined funding. Families and individuals, pushed out by rents averaging $1,900 for a one-bedroom in Ocala, create communities bound by shared struggle. They share food, swap job leads, and protect each other's belongings, forming networks of care where systems fall short. Why do so many Floridians cling to hope in the face of such neglect? Their stories, woven into the fabric of Street Stories Homeless, challenge us to see beyond the state's sunny facade. As campfires flicker in the shadows of Florida's natural beauty, they ask, can a society truly thrive when it overlooks its most determined souls? Let's honor their fight by listening, learning, and advocating for change. Nine, from Promised Land to Exodus. Florida's 825 miles of sun-kissed beaches, fringed with turquoise waves, still lure millions, their cameras snapping postcard-perfect moments. But beneath the glitter of this once promised land, a quiet exodus is reshaping the state's soul. This is Street Stories Homeless, where we uncover the heartbreak of those who no longer see Florida as a destination but as a place to flee. In cities like Lakeland, where rent prices surged 22% in 2024, the dream of affordable living slips away, pushing young dreamers, weary workers, and even the middle class to pack their bags. The state's median rent, now $2,400 for a one-bedroom, devours over 60% of the $46,000 median annual income, leaving little for hope. Families who once saw Florida as a fresh start now face a stark reality. In Kissimmee, where 18% of residents live below the poverty line, parents like Elena, a school bus driver, grapple with impossible choices. We love the idea of raising our kids near the magic of Orlando, she shares, her voice heavy with resolve. But now we're saving to move north where we can breathe. Tourism, pumping $130 billion into Florida's economy, fuels gleaming resorts but sidelines locals. The state's refusal to cap rent hikes or mandate affordable housing lets investors turn neighborhoods into profit engines, while evictions rise over 1,200 in Polk County alone last year. This slow bleed isn't just about numbers, it's a mirror reflecting America's fraying promise. When home becomes a privilege, not a right, and welfare is slashed, Florida cut $200 million from housing programs in 2025. The vulnerable are blamed, not uplifted. Street Stories Homeless asks, what does it mean when a paradise pushes its people out? As families leave, carrying dreams now deferred, Florida's sunsets feel less like hope and more like farewells. Can this land reclaim its promise before it's too late? Facing the truth. This is Street Stories Homeless, where the glint of Florida's 825 miles of beaches fades into the stark reality of lives left behind. We've walked through Miami's dazzling skyline and stumbled upon the tent cities of Tampa, each step revealing a state at a crossroads. With over 31,000 Floridians without stable housing, the crisis isn't a fleeting storm. It's a slow, relentless tide washing away hope. In Kissimmee, where 11% of residents live below the poverty line, the truth hits hard. A system prioritizing $20 billion in tourism revenue over its people is a system fraying at the seams. Every makeshift tent, every food line that runs dry, every family evicted from a $2,000 a month apartment in Lakeland screams for our attention. These aren't just numbers, they're stories of resilience, like Sarah's in Ocala clinging to a dream under a patched tarp. Street Stories Homeless isn't here to hand out quick fixes. We're here to stir your heart, to spark that flicker of sorrow or anger that demands change. Can we ignore the elderly queuing for a single slice of bread in Clearwater, where 12% of seniors face food insecurity? Florida's beauty, from its coral reefs to its endless summers, can't mask the despair of those pushed to the margins. Each policy favoring luxury condos over affordable homes, each budget cut slashing snap in a state with 2.7 million acres of farmland, is a choice to look away. Share your thoughts below. What do these stories awaken in you? Like, share, and subscribe to amplify these voices. Thank you for joining Street Stories Homeless, where every story is a call to face the truth and build a brighter tomorrow.
You can have this one, okay? Take care, okay? All right.
Welcome to Street Stories Homeless.
This is Street Stories Homeless, where we tell the stories no one else will. Did you know that by 2025, Oakland had one of the highest infertility rates in the United States? Or that the city spends nearly $120 million a year to tackle the crisis? Yet, shockingly, over 5,490 people, 1% of Oakland's 440,000 residents, still sleep on streets or in tents along International Boulevard. We pour millions into solutions, see encampments multiply like wildfire? Why do 67% of its unhoused live unsheltered, exposed to rain and despair? Oakland, a hub of culture and grit, hides a paradox. Vibrant festivals mask sprawling camps where hope fights to survive. What's fueling this relentless crisis in a city that promises progress? Is there a way to break this cycle, or are we witnessing the future of America's urban heart? Street Stories Homeless dives into these questions, unraveling truths that demand answers. Like, comment, and subscribe to join us. 1. Oakland's golden past and fading dreams. Once upon a time, Oakland was a shining hub of opportunity. In the 1970s, this port city, handling over 2 million tons of cargo annually through its bustling port of Oakland, was where dreams docked alongside ships. People arrived with little more than a suitcase and a spark of ambition, believing hard work could secure a modest home and a future. A one-bedroom apartment cost just $145 a month, affordable on a factory worker's wage. Oakland was the heartbeat of the Bay Area, a place where the American dream felt within reach. But walk those same streets today and the vibrancy has faded. Along International Boulevard, where over 1,200 businesses once thrived, makeshift tents now line the sidewalks. The air carries the weight of lost hope as people huddle and patch together shelters. The American dream that once defined Oakland has slipped away, replaced by a daily struggle for survival. What happened to the city that promised so much? Stories Homeless News is here to peel back the layers. Meet Maria, a 52-year-old former school janitor who embodies this shift. Maria worked for 20 years cleaning classrooms in Oakland's public schools, raising 2 kids in a small apartment off Fruitvale Avenue. When her landlord raised the rent to $2,800 a month, far beyond her $1,900 monthly income, she was evicted. Now she lives in a tent near Lake Merritt, her belongings stuffed into a single backpack. I used to mop floors so kids could learn, she says, her voice trembling. Now I'm the one who needs help, and there's no one. Maria's story is one of countless others, a testament to a city where the dream has become a distant memory. 2. The scale of the crisis. The homelessness crisis in Oakland is impossible to ignore. Over 5,000 people, roughly 1% of the city's 440,000 population, are without a home, a number that's doubled in just 5 years. These aren't just statistics, their lives unraveling on the streets. From the edges of West Oakland to the heart of downtown, encampments have become part of the city's landscape, sprouting along 98th Avenue where over 200 cluster near the Coliseum. But the crisis runs deeper. Thousands more teeter on the edge, couch surfing or cramming into overcrowded rooms. A single missed paycheck or unexpected bill can tip them into the abyss. On San Pablo Avenue, where 1,500 vehicles pass hourly, you'll see people from all walks of life. A veteran in a faded jacket, a young mother pushing a stroller, an elderly man clutching a worn blanket. They once had jobs, homes, and dreams, but life's fragility has left them here. Consider James, a 45-year-old former mechanic who now calls a tarp-covered corner near MacArthur Boulevard home. James lost his job at an auto shop on Telegraph Avenue when it closed in 2023, unable to afford the $3,200 monthly rent for his one bedroom. With no savings and no family to turn to, he's been homeless for 18 months. I fixed cars for 15 years, he says, his hands still calloused. Now I'm fixing this tarp to keep the rain out. James's story, shared through Stories Homeless News, reminds us that homelessness can touch anyone. How close are we all to losing everything? 3. The roots of collapse. Oakland's crisis didn't emerge overnight. It's the result of a slow, relentless squeeze.
Damn, what's going on over here?
Housing costs have skyrocketed. Today's average rent for a one-bedroom in Oakland is $2,568, with downtown units hitting $3,007. Along Broadway, where 10 new luxury apartment buildings have risen since 2018, these prices are out of reach for minimum wage earners, making $16 an hour. Meanwhile, the cost of living is 58% above the national average, from groceries to gas, yet wages remain stagnant. Welfare programs, once a lifeline, have withered. Social Security payments, averaging $1,700 a month, can't cover rent, let alone food or medicine. Housing subsidies and healthcare benefits have been slashed, leaving the poor and elderly vulnerable. Gentrification has reshaped Oakland too. In the Uptown District, where 15 new cafes have opened since 2020, low-income residents are pushed out to make way for $7 lats and high-rise condos. The workers who build these developments, carpenters, cleaners, electricians, are often the first to lose their place in the city. This brings us to Aisha, a 38-year-old single mother living in a tent near 14th Street, where 50 encampments line the freeway. Aisha worked as a cashier at a grocery store on Grand Avenue until a back injury forced her to stop. Her $1,200 monthly disability check couldn't cover her $2,200 rent, and she and her 7-year-old daughter, Layla, were evicted. Now, Aisha shields Layla from the cold with donated blankets, whispering bedtime stories under a tarp. I tell her we're camping, Aisha says, her eyes glistening. But she knows this isn't a game. Aisha's story, brought to you by Street Stories Homeless, is a call to see the human cost of a broken system. Why do we let families like Aisha slip away? 4. The Red Zonas of Oakland. In Oakland, certain streets have become symbols of the crisis, places where despair casts a long shadow. East 12th Street, stretching 3 miles along the I-880 freeway, is one such area. Over 150 tents crowd its sidewalks, patched together with plastic tarps and discarded wood. There's no running water or electricity, only the hum of traffic and the weight of survival. The city's cleanup campaigns, clearing 20 encampments monthly, dismantle these fragile shelters, leaving residents like Victoria, a long-time local, to start over. Wood Street, under the MacArthur Maze interchange, is another wound on Oakland's map. Until 2023, 300 people lived here, cooking on gas stoves and collecting rainwater in buckets. The area, spanning 10 acres, saw frequent fires, 25 in 2022 alone, prompting evictions. Yet, people return, not out of choice, but necessity. These no-go zones aren't just dangerous, they're a mirror of neglect, where the city's promise of progress feels hollow. Residents nearby, along Foothill Boulevard where 800 families live, feel torn. They pity their unhoused neighbors but avoid these areas, rerouting their kids' school commutes. Deep down, they know these encampments are filled with victims of a system that failed to catch them. Street Stories Homeless shines a light on these forgotten corners, asking, if we ignore these zones, what does that say about our humanity? As we move forward, let's focus on the most vulnerable, those whose stories cut the deepest. 5. The elderly, forgotten builders of Oakland. Oakland's elderly, the architects of its proud history, now face the city's darkest shadows. In 2025, 18% of its homeless population, roughly 900 people, are over 60, a 20% surge since 2023. They dot 27th Street, where 30 encampments sprawl near shuttered storefronts. These are the retirees who poured concrete for factories along the Port of Oakland, drove buses on Broadway's bustling routes, or graded papers in schools serving 36,000 students. They trusted decades of toil would earn them a dignified retirement, yet Oakland's soaring costs betray them. Social Security payments, capped at $1,700 monthly, crumble against $2,568 rents for a one-bedroom. A single $300 medical bill or a $200 utility spike can unravel their stability. Shelters, with only 450 beds across Oakland, lack space for seniors needing wheelchairs or quiet corners. Along Lakeside Drive, 10 senior centers slashed by 15% budget cuts struggle to provide meals, serving just 2,000 monthly. Many elders, clutching worn blankets, sleep in cars near 19th Avenue, where 25 vehicles are makeshift homes. The city's rush toward progress, 10 new high-rises downtown since 2023, overlooks these pioneers. They shuffle past gleaming cafes on Telegraph Avenue, invisible to a society prioritizing profit. Their wisdom, once Oakland's strength, fades in encampments lacking sanitation, with only 15 portable toilets citywide. Street Stories Homeless demands we see their plight. A city that discards its elders loses its moral compass. How can we restore dignity to those who built Oakland's heart? 6. Children, a stolen childhood. Oakland's children bear the unseen wounds of its homelessness crisis, their futures at stake. In 2025, over 1,400 kids, 4% of the city's youth, lack stable homes, wandering 73rd Avenue where 50 tents cluster under freeway overpasses. Without birth certificates or insurance, many are locked out of schools serving 5,500 students near High Street. The lucky ones attend wearing donated uniforms, their minds clouded by fear of camp clearances, 30 swept citywide in 2024. Their dreams are simple, a safe bed, not a summer vacation. Programs like free lunches at 12 schools reach only 800 children, while family shelters, with 60 beds, reject dozens nightly due to paperwork barriers. Mosswood Park, spanning 11 acres, sees 20% of its green space overtaken by encampments, robbing kids of play areas. These children grow up learning survival, not trust, in a city where 25% of public spaces are impacted by homelessness. The cost is dire. Without education, their potential dims, risking a lost generation. Oakland's community centers, 12 along Claremont Avenue, offer limited after-school programs, serving just 1,000 kids monthly due to 10% funding cuts. This neglect shapes young minds to expect indifference, not opportunity. Stories Homeless News calls for action. A city's worth lies in its care for its youngest. Can we let these children grow up believing society has no place for them? 7. A city losing its heart. Oakland's heartbeat is fading, its once vibrant spirit dimmed by a homelessness crisis that ripples through every corner. In 2025, rental prices soared 10% along Adeline Street, where 400 apartments now average $2,800 monthly, pushing families out. Crime near encampments spikes. 700 incidents reported on Martin Luther King Jr. Way in 2024, casting fear over neighborhoods. Public schools educating 36,000 students across 80 campuses grapple with a 12% teacher shortage, while budget cuts slash after-school programs. Stories Homeless News captures this unraveling, a city teetering on the edge. The healthcare system buckles under pressure. Clinics on 17th Street, serving 15,000 patients yearly, face waitlists of 1,200, leaving the unhoused with untreated ailments. Small businesses, like the 25 shuttered on Alcatraz Avenue, vanish as foot traffic dwindles, replaced by empty storefronts. Residents with means flee. 5,000 left Oakland in 2024, while those who stay live in quiet despair, unsure when their stability might crumble. This isn't just a housing crisis, it's a domino effect fraying community ties. Trust in leadership erodes as temporary fixes fall short. The city added 250 shelter beds near 7th Street in 2025, but 5,000 remain unhoused. Hotel vouchers aided 350 families, yet encampments persist along 580. Press releases tout progress, but the streets, littered with tents near 27th Avenue, where 150 reside, tell a raw truth. Oakland's identity, once a mosaic of resilience and diversity, fades into a city adrift, its soul measured not by skyscrapers but by the silenced voices of its smallest inhabitants. Street Stories Homeless asks, can we mend this broken heart before it stops beating? Eight, building a future with affordable housing. Imagine a city where every family has a home, where the streets of Oakland bloom with hope instead of tents. This is the future Street Stories Homeless envisions, tackling the homelessness crisis head-on with affordable housing. In 2025, Oakland greenlit just 300 low-income units along East 14th Street, a drop in the bucket against the 10,000 needed for its 5,000 unhoused residents. But bold ideas can change that. Picture modular homes rising swiftly across vacant lots, 1,200 citywide, especially near Laney College's vibrant campus. These homes, built in months for $150,000 each, cost far less than the $400,000 traditional units. By 2027, 2,000 could stand, offering safe havens. Mixed-income communities, blending unhoused families with working professionals, could foster unity, transforming areas like 23rd Avenue into thriving neighborhoods. Money and speed are crucial. Oakland's $10 million from uptown tech firms in 2024 is a start, but scaling to $50 million yearly could fund 500 units annually. Streamlining permits, slashing 18-month delays to 6, would turn blueprints into homes faster. Community land trusts, like the 50-home model on 29th Avenue, keep rents below $1,000, empowering residents to co-own their future. This isn't a pipe dream. It's a plan rooted in innovation and heart. Every unit built is a life reclaimed, a family sheltered? Stories Homeless News asks. Will Oakland seize this chance to lead, building a city where no one is left behind? 9. Empowering communities through job training. Picture a future where Oakland streets, like those along West Grand Avenue hosting 120 tents, hum with opportunity instead of despair. The homelessness crisis, affecting 5,000 souls, can't be solved by shelters alone. It demands economic empowerment. In 2025, only 1,500 unhoused residents access job training citywide, a drop in the bucket. Street Stories Homeless dreams bigger, a network of vibrant training hubs transforming lives. Imagine 5 new vocational centers, expanding from the Fruitvale model serving 200 learners. By 2027, these could train 2,000 people yearly in high-demand fields, solar panel installation, urban farming, or medical assisting, jobs paying $25 an hour. Oakland's green economy, adding 1,200 jobs in 2024 near Bay Bridge, is ripe for this. Subsidized apprenticeships, backed by $5 million in state grants, could place 500 unhoused individuals in roles within 2 years, building skills and confidence. But it's not just about jobs. Micro-enterprise programs could spark 300 small businesses, like the 25 vendors selling crafts at Lake Merritt's markets. Training in catering or woodworking, paired with $2,000 startup grants, could turn dreams into reality. Wraparound services, mental health counseling for 800 clients, childcare for 1,000 families ensure no one falls through the cracks. On 42nd Avenue, where 80 families seek aid, these programs could rebuild community pride. This isn't a pipe dream, it's a blueprint. Oakland can lead by investing in its people, not just its skyline. Street Stories Homeless asks, will you join us to empower every resident, making Oakland a city where everyone thrives? (10) A call to see and act. Oakland's homelessness crisis is a tapestry of human stories woven with threads of loss and resilience, demanding our attention. Picture the tents along the I-880 freeway, over 200 strong, where families huddle against the night's chill. Imagine children 1,200 across the city, clutching tattered backpacks, their dreams dimmed by uncertainty. Envision the elderly, 750 souls over 60, who built Oakland's factories and schools, now forgotten on corners like 23rd Avenue, counting coins for a warm meal. This isn't just their struggle, it's a mirror reflecting our shared humanity. Stories Homeless News urges you to look closer. This crisis isn't a distant tale, it's a warning for every city, every heart. In 2024, Oakland added only 500 affordable homes, a drop in the bucket against 5,000 unhoused lives. Each number is a person, a dream deferred, a plea for change. We can't turn away pretending the shadows don't exist. What makes a city great? Not its skyscrapers, but its care for the smallest voices, those shivering under tarps near Lake Merritt, where 20% of Parkland bears the weight of encampments. Action starts with us. Support shelters on International Boulevard, serving 1,000 monthly with donations or time. Advocate for policies to build 2,000 low-income units by 2027, cutting the housing gap. Share these stories, Maria's, James's, Layla's, to spark dialogue. Street Stories Homeless isn't here to dwell in sorrow, but to ignite hope. Like, comment, and subscribe to amplify this call. Together we can reweave Oakland's fabric, ensuring no one is left behind. What will you do to light the way?
No squisher.
What's this one?
A princess.
That's a princess leaf. And what's this one?
Umbrella leaf.
Umbrella leaf.
It's a baby. It's a crybaby.
It's a crybaby. What's your favorite color?
Lemon.
Yellow lemon.
It's sour.
That's right.
Yellow.
This is Street Stories Homeless. We rip the veil off the stories the city tries to hide. Did you know that in 2025, Chicago ranks among America's hardest hit cities for homelessness, with a crisis spiraling out of control? The city pumps nearly $1 billion annually into solutions, yet the streets are still a battleground for survival. In a metropolis of 2.7 million, home to the iconic Willis Tower piercing 1,450 feet into the sky, over 18,000 people faced the night without a roof, third worst in the nation. Jaw-dropping truth, while the Beneficent Mile rakes in $2 billion yearly. Children sleep in alleys just a stone's throw away. Shelters with a mere 6,000 beds turn away desperate families daily. Here's the gut punch. Homelessness spiked 18% in 2024, mocking the city's $900 million effort. How can a place so rich let its people vanish into the cold? Stay with Street Stories Homeless to dig into the raw, unfiltered pulse of Chicago's streets. Like, comment, and subscribe. 1.